What's going on YouTube? Salos, back with another video. Still sober today, coming up on 90 days now. So that's pretty cool. Today is kind of a different type of video, more personal, so if you don't like that kind of thing, you can not watch it. If you guys are curious on what's playing in the background, this is Disaster, Divine Blasphemies. Just classic Black Thrash stuff. Some of my favorite. Now the first LP I have to show you guys is the first album that I ever bought. The first record. Because I had CDs before and all of that. But this is something that really caught my eye. I was browsing through YouTube. Through eBay. Looking for patches and whatnot. And I found this. This is a bootleg. A split with Mayhem and Emperor. The selling factor for me was this picture of Dead right there. Now this bootleg is limited to 500 copies, so you got Mayhem and Emperor. On the Emperor side, there is a Bathory cover. Not the biggest Emperor fan. Now this is pretty bare bones, black vinyl. No labels whatsoever. But this was my descent into vinyl madness. But just because it's the first album I ever bought, it means quite a bit to me. I wouldn't sell it, of course. I don't know if I could sell it, but I definitely wouldn't. Now, the next release, little background about myself. There's always been things in my life that helped me through hard times. For a long time it was art and skateboarding. Just a way to get your emotions out. Another big outlet that I found later on was music. As an adolescent, I had a lot of problems growing up. Really didn't connect to too many people. When I was really young, I was abused, which spiraled into depression and many other things. I still have nightmares and shit. Still have nightmares today from just horrible shit. But in high school, I went to a local record store and I found an album that just really clicked with me. It was just perfect band to express how I feel, or how I felt. This is Exasler. This is our first album, A Gate Through Bloodstained Mirrors. I picked this up at Raunch Records. I didn't know what to expect. Of course, I was into Norwegian black metal. But when I first listened to this, I felt like somebody out there actually sort of got what I was feeling, and they probably felt the same way. I know Scott Connor doesn't make the best music anymore, but this stuff just really connected to me. My personal favorite Exasler release came out in 2003, Suicide and Dark Serenity. I really like this cover. You can see it's pretty glossy. This is the what is it? Bestial Onslaught. A nice picture of him right there. Just on black vinyl. This is the only pressing that this came out with. But I've listened to this in the darkest moments of my life. Contemplating whether I wanted to live or not. When death sounds like a good idea. It's no good. So I don't mean to get all doom and gloomy, but that's kind of how this video is going. But through sadness is really when I connect to music the most. Still pretty bare bone. That said, on this release, but that's Exasper. Really awesome stuff. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to show Lurker of Chalice or Exasper. A thing about this too is I found this pretty early in my music listening, and then later on I found that documentary on Leviathan, Exasper, and Strebor, which was pretty interesting because I was already into Leviathan and Exasper, but it kind of got me into Strebor. Strebor is pretty cool. Not a personal favorite of mine, but it's listenable. Now, a little bit about this next one. This doesn't cost that much money, but I remember the day I got this. It was a really bad week for me, but it was a great day. The night before, I was thinking about killing myself, I believe. But then the next day was the day that changed my life forever. I used to play in a band, it was just a hardcore punk band. And we were all at band practice, and we decided to go to a local record store. So there was too many of us, so they had to put me in the trunk, which is funny. And it was the middle of summer, and here in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the middle of the fucking desert. So it was probably like 110 degrees, and it was just hot as fuck. So I got in my buddy's trunk with all his drum equipment, because I'm so skinny, I could fit back there, and we really wanted to go, and so I just said I'd fucking sit back there. We were already lapping it. It's just so crazy. But the album that I picked up, we went to Raunch Records, and the album that I got, this is Mayhem with Death Crush. Everybody knows this. But this is actually the first colored vinyl that I got. Everybody has this, I know. But the funny thing about this is that night I was so stoked about getting this that I kind of forgot about the night before. It was still in the back of my consciousness, but I was really enjoying myself at the time. That night too would be a night that would change my life forever. It's the first time that I took psilocybin mushrooms, which this is a drug story. Didn't know what to expect. I thought I wasn't going to live that long, so I just said, what the fuck, what's the point? Why not try it? So I took the mushrooms, and I didn't know what to expect. And as soon as they kicked in, I had one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. I sort of gave me a chance to change my perspective just about how magical the world is. Just how crazy is it that we live on a planet that orbits a star that's not too far, not too close to the star for life to exist on our planet, and our sun is part of a greater system called a galaxy with billions of more stars. And our galaxy is part of billions of galaxies in our universe. And just thinking about how lucky we were, and that sent me on a spiral of learning about science, getting into Terence McKenna, because I was just so baffled by the experience. I had to know everything about it. Like, what the fuck is that? I felt like I don't believe in a divine, or maybe I do, but I felt like I was in communication with Gaia, or whatever you could say. And the most mundane thing through the trip was me and my friends thought we could see love within this LP. I don't know the way the splatter looked or what, but we thought we could say love, and we thought it was so funny, because why would a Mayhem LP say love in it? That's where our minds were. But that experience got me into Terence McKenna, philosopher, botanist. Got me into Alan Watts, Aleister Crowley, which in turn got me into Joe Rogan's podcast. I found an interview with Terence McKenna's brother on Joe Rogan's podcast, and then I was off to the races. I just learned about how beautiful the world is, how complicated and how interesting everything is. And before, I was just really depressed, suicidal, and then I felt like I had a purpose. I had a purpose to learn. I had an interest in things. But during that experience, the whole night we listened to Jimi Hendrix. We actually felt the presence of Jimi Hendrix there. I don't believe in ghosts or any of that type of nonsense. This album cover is actually pretty cool. But all three of us felt like we seen Jimi Hendrix come out of a wall, and we could feel him there. The CD we actually listened to is this one right here. It's kind of beat up, but this is the CD. But that was a day that changed my life forever. And then the past couple years, just been doing pretty good. But what I'm learning is, depression doesn't just come once. It comes in waves. And everybody knew that I was pretty fucked up to begin with. And everybody thought I got better. But, so I was too scared to tell everybody that I was doing bad again. And I was just getting super depressed, getting suicidal again, and then I found I was already doing drugs throughout all these years. Then I really got heavy into opiates, heroin, and specifically just smoking crack and doing heroin. Not for fun, just doing it by myself. I did have people to do it with, but I really didn't like doing it with people. Just sit there and fucking try to fucking smoke my pain away. And if you've been watching my videos before, you know I am into a treatment program, getting help with like PTSD and all of that fun stuff, substance abuse. But throughout the whole time of me being fucked up and doing drugs, there's a couple bands that I really connected with. These are bands that I really loved before, but that I really began to understand the more deeper in that fucking hole I got. The first one, this is Dead Moon with Defiance. Now, these guys, they don't have the best voices. They don't have the best guitar playing, but everything about the music just fucking really sunk deep within inside of me. It's really hard to describe a band like this that means so much to me. But at nights when I just want to fucking kill myself, I really felt connected to this shit. My favorite song in this is probably Walking on My Grave. I actually have a tattoo of that right there. A good buddy of mine, he drew that out for me, and then I got it tattooed. But this came out in 1990. It doesn't really sound bummed out. At points it does, but the thing is the lyrics. I have every song of this fucking memorized. But if you dive deep into the lyrics, the deeper I got, the more my life became these fucking lyrics. And I got where these guys are coming from. But Dead Moon is one of my all-time favorite bands. You got lyrics right there. Fred Cole was also just like Lemmy. What is it called? A roadie for Jimi Hendrix, I believe. So this came out when they were in like their pretty late in their life. Like they were in bands for the 60s and stuff. But I really enjoy more depressing Neil Young songs. And I fucking should have pulled out one of those. I'll probably do a series of these videos because there's so many albums and so many bands that I've really connected through depression. And I think when you feel strong emotions is when you really can connect to something, and you kind of get where the artist is coming from, and you sort of connect to them on their same level. But this is Dead Moon with Defiance. If you haven't heard Dead Moon, it's not the best produced stuff, not the best played or sung stuff, but really hits home for me. That's Dead Moon. I should probably fucking clean this CD. Another band that I really connected to throughout this last stretch of depression and fucking doing drugs was Pentagram. Pentagram, I love everything Pentagram has put out. Bobby Liebling is just one of my heroes. But I really enjoy the 70s stuff. The same thing about the Dead Moon stuff can apply here. The deeper of a hole I got into, the more I got where Bobby was coming from. And if you guys haven't seen Last Days Here, oh shit, dropping it. Something. If you guys haven't seen Last Days Here, if you guys want to know what life is like firsthand from somebody who has problems like this, you need to watch this. I think this movie made me cry at points, actually. But I'm just in love with Bobby Liebling. But this Pentagram First Days Here, this is a compilation from their early 1970s stuff. Well, their 70s material. If you guys have heard the later Pentagram stuff, you know it's more doom metal. I really love that stuff. And my favorite thing about Pentagram is their lyrical content. I really just love this shit. And a band that I got into a few years ago that I didn't know existed, even though I'm a huge Pentagram fan, I was looking up the soundtrack for this movie here because there was a song in there that fucking really gave me goosebumps. This is Beady Mun. This is pretty much Pentagram with a different name from the 1970s. This is also a compilation, so each song has like a different recording because it's taken from different demos and stuff. But this is just really awesome stuff too. If you're a fan of Pentagram and you're not into Beady Mun, this is really great stuff. That's the stuff that'll just give you fucking goosebumps, man. Now the cover is kind of cheesy. I wish they would have done the cover without this girl, but it is called Children of Darkness. Now the back, that looks pretty cool. But I found this at a local record store, and I had to pick it up. I didn't even know it was pressed on vinyl, because when I checked, it wasn't pressed, and then I just randomly seen it. So this does come with like an insert poster thing, but this is everything, like an introduction to the band, the history behind songs, about the recordings, memories, stories, all that cool stuff. Really good read if you're a nerd like me. But I'm just fascinated about all this type of stuff. So labels, black vinyl. But if you haven't checked out Pentagram or Beatty Man, definitely check that shit out. But thanks for watching my video, guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry if I made it too personal, but these are all albums that, some albums that really got me through hard times, and I felt like I could connect with somebody on a personal level. So, but you guys can like, subscribe, you guys can dislike, unsubscribe. Thanks for watching my video. Peace.